Quick little update on the kayak. As you can see, I've been working on putting strips on. I got the bow done all the way to the water line on both sides. I started laying out the water line with a piece of string. Used push pins at each of the frames where the water line goes. Got to the back of the boat, and I'll show a picture, but see that word stern and how it's upside down? Yeah, when I first got to the back of the boat, it wasn't. I had the stern form upside down. The top was the bottom was the top. And I discovered this when I noticed these water lines did not line up on the stern form versus these side forms. This water line was way down here. And yeah, so I pulled all my little braces off, flipped it over, stuck it back in where it's supposed to be. And what you can see now is the chine does not line up where it's supposed to. They do down there, and that one does, but this last one is off far enough it doesn't touch. What that also means, if you can see this one, I don't have it glued on yet, but you can see how these don't line up. And if you bring this water line over to the other side, you'll see the water line is actually below this strip right here, which means I don't have anything to cut off to straighten my water line. So what I did, this side started off looking like the other side, but what I did was I took my new little saw I got and tried to cut it along the glue line. Cut it off there. I did better on this one, cut along the glue line, cut it off there. I gotta go back, this isn't glued in yet. So I'm gonna go back and sand all this, try to get this all the way down to the glue line on this one. And then what it looks like is when I suck this up where it's supposed to be and run it along the actual chine, I end up covering the water line. This top one has enough flex, I'll be able to pull it down to line it all up. I'll probably use every clamp I have, trying to make it stick. So, yeah, we'll work on getting the stern right side up. One thing you'll notice if you look close, actually I don't have to look that close, there's definitely a rocker on the bottom of the boat where the very stern is lower than the part higher up, and the top does the opposite. So can't believe I never noticed that earlier, but previously if you go back and look at one of the other videos, you'll see that the stern of the boat actually had a rise to it, meaning it would have acted like a nice little keel. Sure, the boat would have tracked very, very straight going through the water with what amounts to a rudder at the back of the boat. But that would not do well for maneuverability and if you have to spin it while you're paddling. At least that's my assumption. I've never had a real kayak. I've only ever played around with the sit-on-top kayaks. So I'm looking forward to getting this thing in the water at some point, seeing what it actually does. But if you look up here, you can see the water lines, or the horizontal lines on each of these. And what happens is when you pull this string tight from front to back, supposedly, if I did this right, you should be able to sight down the bow of the boat all the way to the stern, and the pink string should be perfectly straight front to back. And then I'll go in, mark it with a pencil, cut it with the same saw that I was playing with earlier. I have this other saw. I've had this one forever. I don't even know where I got it, but it works really, really good. The problem I have is the blade is real flexible, so it tends to try to wander on me. This one has a nice top to it that keeps it very, very straight. Plus the kerf on this one's a little thinner, so got it on Amazon. As far as trim, I have a pretty big chunk of mahogany buried underneath stuff because, you know, it's a shop, so I have stuff. The plan is to strip the mahogany and make some accent strips, probably 3/8 inch wide instead of 3/4 inch like the rest of these strips. So along the water line I'll do a 3/8 inch strip of mahogany front to back, and then go back to the cedar, and then the same when I get to these sharp corners. When I flip it over and I'm doing the top, I'll do another strip front to back across the entire top of the boat. And then I'm debating what else to do. I'd like to do some other accent strips of some type, but I don't know what to do yet. I'm still looking at pictures and trying to get ideas from what other people have done on their kayaks. But that's where I'm at, trying to fix my mistakes.